So as I mentioned, right, the goal right now is to be able to show you guys really how to utilize the paperless parts viewer and all the tools that come with that, right? We understand that, CAD CAM software today is expensive and can sometimes be slow when you have to, quickly look at a part file and share that information with some outside supplier, vendor, even back to your customer, whoever it might be. So what we're going to be going over today is the ability with, different file types to make annotations on those files and communicate that information with really any outside party that you might want to. So just to start off, right, what we're looking at right here is the parts library. So in order to access the viewer, you can do it a couple of ways. We could drag and drop, a part file into the parts library here. We can upload it as well by clicking, the big blue button there in the top right-hand corner where it says upload a part. But essentially, you can upload them here in the parts library, or if you're on your quotes tab, you drop down to the specific line item and you can just open up the parts viewer there. Once that opens up, right, it brings us into the paperless parts CAD viewer here. So we're looking at, in particular, a 3D model. Just to clarify, right, you can view over 30 file types. So your standard step files, PDFs, but in addition to that, you can upload, native CAD files from SolidWorks, CATIA, Mastercam, whatever system you might be using today. In addition to that, right, you could also upload, images from your phone. So a JPEG, a video, an Excel spreadsheet. This should just be a really easy way for you and your shop to upload and view whatever file you need to. A couple things to just note off the bat. So in looking at a 3D model, we're able to have your standard, modern exploration and markup tools, being able to select faces, make measurements, understand, your optimal bounding box, as well as get a few different ways to view the body of the part too. But really, what separates us at Paperless Parts is our ability to very quickly geometrically analyze a part. Essentially, all that means is we have some of these default processes built out. And then if you are a quoting customer, you will have worked with our team to build out specific processes for you in your shop. You can come in, right, select a process. If you're working off of a quote already, this information will be filled out when you build your quote. But you can come in, select your process, select your material, and now we're going to analyze this part file. So essentially what we're doing is we're calling out all of the milling features, in this instance, machine features, as well as potential design for manufacturability warnings. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to present your shop with a bunch of information right off the bat, right? Because what happens? You're going to receive a part file and you're going to have to think to yourself, okay, can we manufacture this? And then you'll think, how are we going to go about doing it? So that geometric analysis that has populated here on the left-hand side is trying to give you the ability to not do as much manual work on your end, right? We could call out, all of these 16 holes that we have on this part file. We could also call out the machine direction as well, right? All the machine directions, understanding how many setups we'll need for this particular part. And beyond the basic milling features that we can call out, we can also call out potential design for manufacturability warnings, right? So and today, if you're a quoting customer, these DFM warnings will be tailored more specifically to your shop and what you want to have called out. But what we do is we give a bit of an explanation as to why this may be an issue for your shop or why this may be a problem, right, in manufacturing this. We're just trying to get you guys, the ability to have some foresight to see around corners and not run into these issues as you're manufacturing the part. Also, when it comes to the quoting aspect of things, we want you to call these things out because let's say, for example, right here on this particular feature, this was a squared off edge. It was a 90-degree angle. We would want that called out right away. So that can flag to your attention that you might have to send this back to your customer to understand, did they mean to design it this way? Or if you, reach out to your customer and tell them, hey, we're not going to be able to do this, right? So we're trying to just get you guys that information very quickly right off the bat. Now, what can you do with this information on the left-hand side? Well, a couple of things. You can either communicate internally here on the chat feature, as we see on the right-hand side, right? So we could go in, we can make an annotation on one of these simple features, whether it's the countersinks, and then we could also call out the deep hole here. And we can add an annotation, and anything that exists on the left-hand side when it comes to the CAD viewer here is that all those are features, right? So we will call out these features. We're going to see a bit of a checklist populate here. And then internally, I could, loop in one of my colleagues and say, do we need a special tool for this deep hole? I send that message over to one of my colleagues. They're going to be able to go into their paperless account. They'll get a notification up here on the bell icon, and they'll be snapped, directly to the view, to the features that we were looking at that we called out. Now, let's say that, your colleague gets back to you. They let you know that we're going to have to actually get a special tool for this particular feature that we're looking at. Well, this is where we can really open up one of our partner tools. So over the past year or so, we've been developing a tool with MSC Industrial Supply called TechMate. And really what we saw in this partnership is today, in order to get tooling recommendations or overall metalworking support, you can do it a couple of ways. You can pick up the phone, talk over a part file over the phone, have a bit of a back and forth, or, you might send your part information through email and kind of have a back and forth through email. Or you might just wait for somebody to come by and visit your shop and help out, in person. What we did in developing TechMate is we eliminated all of that back and forth, the wasted time getting in touch with one person who puts you in touch with another, so on and so forth. This is a direct connection with the MSC technical team. So you will be assigned to the MSC tech team. That is a group of metalworking associates from the MSC team. They all have on average 20 years of experience plus in a shop. And so that is previous business owners, programmers, machinists. And their job today is to be strictly remote, answering messages, anything from, hey, I need to get a custom tool. Can you help me find one? To, hey, I just need a standard end mill. Can you get me, the MSC number for this? And also you can reach out and you can ask overall metalworking questions about speeds and feeds. So really, this is a great tool to utilize in terms of offloading a lot of the manual work for finding the tools you need today, right? The two main use cases we see are either offloading that manual work of having to find a custom tool or having to do your research through a catalog or through the website to just get a standard tool. And in addition to that, we also find this to be very valuable for shops to help build a bridge when it comes to a skills gap, right? We all know how hard it is to find skilled labor today. And so you can really leverage this in your shop to not take other team members, not take their time, not have them take, 30 minutes to go find a custom tool, whatever it might be. Now what you can do is offload that work to MSC and have them do that research for you. So just as we did with the internal chat, I'm going to call out, these same features here. I understand this deep hole, I might need to get a custom tool for this. So I'll reach out, I'll annotate these features once again, and I'll just send over a message to MSC saying, hey, can you recommend a custom tool for this deep hole? The material is 6061 T6. Send that message over. Now what we've done is we've given MSC the ability to view this part file that we're looking at, and they can view the exact annotation that we made. But let's say that you aren't just receiving 3D models. Well, you can do the exact same thing with PDFs as well. So if we navigate over here to the Files button on the left-hand side, we can upload a supporting file. So more times than not, a supporting file is going to be the associated PDF. But like I mentioned earlier, you could upload, a photo, a video, right? If you have more of a metalworking question, you could actually upload a video of your machine, a photo of some tools that you've been using in the past, and really have, all the information that you might need to communicate over to that MSC team to get the best tooling recommendation. So in looking at this PDF, a couple of things I just want to note when it comes to some tools we have within the viewer. So a lot of the times when you're sharing part files and part information with outside parties, we're going to want to, make some redactions to the PDF here. We allow you to do that very easily in paperless parts. As I mentioned with 3D models, kind of the name of the game is those features, the geometric analysis on the left-hand side. Now with PDFs, we can really draw our eyes up to the middle toolbar up here. So if we navigate to the edit button, we can then go redact, specific information like customer names, usually the name of the shop that we might be working with would populate right here. And now what we can do is save this as a new redacted PDF. and it's going to populate here on the left-hand side. So that just eliminates having to use Adobe, having to maybe get some whiteout or a Sharpie and physically do it on, the piece of paper and scan it back into your computer. Now in 3 simple clicks, we've been able to redact all that sensitive information that we want to off of the print. But just as we did with the 3D model, we'll want to make similar annotations on this PDF as well. So we can go in and we can highlight information like the material here. And then if we navigate to the shapes button, we can go in and call out the specific feature that we were looking at. So if we navigate to the left part of the print, we see the deep hole that we were referring to. I can go in, make a quick annotation on the deep hole. And unlike models, right, on prints, we have information like tolerances that we'll want to call out as well. So now I've given them information on the material we're using, tolerances, right, and the actual feature that we need help on, or features that we would need help on. So once we click add annotations, it's going to give us a bit of a checklist. Just as a friendly reminder, right, whenever you're adding an annotation or you mark up a print or a part file, always make sure you click this add annotation button, and it's going to populate a bit of a checklist here for you. So in this specific conversation, I could just say, refer to the print for additional information. Shoot that over. Now the team at MSC has the ability to not only view the step file and the feature that we have annotated on this step file, but they'll also be able to go to the redacted PDF and view the information that we have on the redacted PDF. But there's one key thing that we have to do once we share this information with MSC. There's a button right here underneath where it says TechMate in bold. This is our channel access button. This allows us to share only the information that we want with the MSC team, right? So we can come up here and allow them to have access to just the step file and the redacted PDF. In addition to that, we can set a chat expiration. So let's say, I need to get this out the door by lunchtime on Tuesday. Well, I can save it so that this chat will expire and it will be reflected up here in the top right-hand corner. Now, in addition to just making these annotations, let's say we actually get a custom tool recommended from MSC. They, send you to a particular supplier that they're working with. You can then navigate up to the chat button up here. And just as we use the internal chat, we can now use the external chat. So this external chat allows you to securely share this part file with that outside party, right? So we could name this chat name, custom tool. We can invite any member that we want from, that particular vendor. MSC will actually provide you with some emails to use. And then we can add a note and allow, that particular outside party to have access to only the files that we want here. Similarly, we can also set a chat expiration as well. But once we start that chat, just as we did with the PDF and just as we did with the 3D model here, we can go in and we can annotate, the material. We could go in, highlight the exact same information that we had before. And as you see, I clicked add annotation first in this instance, and it's populating the checklist as we go. So I could send this over. I said, this is the feature I need a custom tool for. Can you help me out? I send that over. Now they're going to be able to view exactly what it is that we're looking at. And similarly, we can go in and change this channel access at any point. So this is how you can really utilize the external features to get in touch with, a third-party finishing company, a custom tooling provider, material supplier, or even a customer, and share these part files through our secure paperless parts portal. So that is really the overall TechMate functionality, but I also want to touch on one other tool that we've developed with a partner. As you can see here, we have our PEMConnect tool as well. So if I navigate back to our parts library, I can go in and I can open up an assembly file. So we've developed a tool in partnership with Penn Engineering called PEMConnect. The goal of this tool is to allow shops to have a direct chat feature connected to the Penn Engineering support team, as well as the ability to view fastener pricing and availability. So what we can do is we can come in here for sheet metal shops that are installing a lot of PEM fasteners. We can match these fasteners either by looking at the specific geometry of the part or by the OEM part number name. And now in saving these components here, you can start to see the pricing and availability pop up. So this is very helpful in terms of understanding, lead times for fasteners and making sure that you're not losing money on a job, by not accounting for this information. So if we navigate up here to the quantities, we can change the quantity break to, 10, 500, we'll do 1,500, and we'll do 5,000. So now in saving this, we can start to see our availability change. So as we look at the 10 quantity, right, we can see that all three of these fasteners are available, and we can actually click on the link to understand where that inventory is across that distributor's multiple locations. As we work across the quantity break, we can see that some of that starts to change, right? So that for this top fastener, we can see that it's now insufficient, meaning we're not going to be able to fill this job, right? We're not going to be able to buy this fastener from this particular distributor. What available means, just to clarify, is you're going to have 200% or more in inventory, right? So you're going to be able to have confidence that you'll be able to get what you need for that job. And then I'll actually go in, I'll change the quantity break a little bit more. We'll do 8,000 instead. And what we can see when I get a good quantity break here is some new metrics. So we have some availability metrics when it comes to, so I'll do 1250 here. We have two other metrics that pop up, which are at risk. And the other one is, so we have at risk. And in addition to that, we also have a split quantity. So at risk means that you're going to have somewhere between 100 and 200% of the stock required for the job available. Okay. And split means that we're going to have 200% or more, similar to availability, but it's just going to be split across multiple locations for that particular distributor. At any point, you can manually add fasteners. And in addition to that, we can also view other distributors as well. So you might be working with a couple of distributors. What we can do is we can view that pricing and availability across other distributors here as well. At any point, you can select one particular fastener, get all the specifications there. And you can also view that availability across multiple distributors. We can see that at risk here pops up. Currently today, we have live API connections with DB Roberts and SW Anderson Co. And we are working on getting live connections, live updated pricing and availability with all other distributors here. We will be able to see the last time it was updated, however, to give you some assurance as to what you'll be able to actually receive in your shop today. And then at any point, you can just send an RFQ. It's going to populate a bit of an email, the body of an email here, and you can select any of the distributors that you want. So we could go in and we could send an email to, every single one of these distributors all at once instead of having to send, 10 to 12 emails. So I think now is a great time to open up some questions. I can always go back to sharing my screen at any point. But as I can see here, what if my customers require use of their approved supplier list? Can the distributor list be filtered? So is that in reference to PEMConnect? I just want to clarify there. So today you're not going to be able to, within PEMConnect, filter for the particular suppliers that you're working with. So it will give them the option of all of those distributors that I had listed off there. However, right, the goal is that shops today, have great relationships with the shops that they're working with. And, all a shop would have to do to view, the availability across different suppliers and distributors is they would just have to go to their website. We do make it a little easier here within paperless parts. Of course, yes. So I can show you guys with some PDFs here. I'll go back to sharing my screen. Right, so if we click on this PDF, we're going to have the edit view, we're going to have the ability to go in and edit, annotate the viewer just by clicking on it from the parts library. So you can do that within the parts library. You can also do that on a quote. When you're on a quote and you drop down a line item, there's going to be a photo, a picture, a thumbnail, however you want to call it, of the particular file. When you click on it, if you hover over it, it's going to say open viewer. And now you'll be able to view the file here. When it comes to the edit button on the viewer, this allows you to make some redactions, right? So just as a standard kind of practice, we allow you guys within the PDF viewer, if you just hover over a button, it's going to give you a little explanation as to what that button does. So just to make a simple redaction, right? We go to that edit button, click redact. We can call out confidential or block out confidential information. That's going to come in and that's going to save as a new redacted PDF with all that information completely blacked out. Do you know if redaction will be offered with white boxes in the future to make it nicer for printing? That's a very good point. I do not know if it will be offered in the future, but I will be bringing that up to our team. If that's just a visual aspect of things, if you like to use whiteout today, I would imagine that would not be too difficult to do on our end there. Yes, so in setting up the parts library, so your parts library, think of this as your share drive, the folder you might have on your computer today. This is the way for you and your team to just upload files. So the way to technically get this set up is just by uploading all the files that you want in here. Now, the nice thing is this is just accessible to you and your team today, right? So all those outside vendors, suppliers, they won't be able to view this information. This is strictly for you and your team to centrally store your part files in one place and keep it organized for you and your team. When it comes to the manufacturing capabilities, you will have to be a paid customer in our quoting platform. Go back here. You will have to be a paid customer in our quoting platform to really hone in on those capabilities. So, right, these potential DFM warnings that are populating here on the left-hand side, you'll just have to work with our team to have, some of those called out more particular to you and your shop today. What are some other questions I can answer on the overall viewer, as well as any of those partnership tools that we highlighted today? Allie, is there anything that I'm missing at all?
I don't believe so. I don't see anything in the chat here, and you're able to see the Q&A, right?
I can see the Q&A, yep.
Then nope.
Cool. Well, just as a reminder, if you guys have any questions at all, about paperless parts once you're in your platform. So if you're a quoting customer today, we really recommend and really hope that you're using our support channel. So we have support for, standard questions, but also you can see those two partnership tools. We have specific questions for those. I'll be able to answer, any questions you guys might have. Also, please feel free if you need to set up some further time for this part viewer training or to understand a little bit more about these partnership tools, please feel free to sign up and set up some time with me. You can reach out via email. So my email is just my name. It's peter.tamasi@paperlessparts.com. That will be provided for you guys at the end of this webinar here. And so at any point, if you have any questions, you can contact our support team or myself. When it comes to notifications, I just want to highlight one thing, right? Told you guys we can get some notifications here. So if you're talking with the MSC team, all those notifications, their replies will come in right here. Right, so we can see MSC number. We already got a response, in 12 minutes. Now, when it comes to this MSC tool, the average response time is an hour. And it is, the maximum response time is an hour. And it's been on average over the past 2 months, 7 minutes. So that initial response might be, hey, let me take some time to do some research, but they're constantly surveying this and making sure that they're getting to, everybody, and all the questions that anybody might have. So if there are no further questions, like I mentioned, do not hesitate to reach out, but I really appreciate everybody's time here and hopping on this training. And, if you have any, if you want to learn a little bit more about the viewer or something in particular here, don't hesitate to set up some time.